MyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So we've got a lot going on. I mean, just a tad bit, right? We've got something interesting going on in the AI space. Sorry, I'm just getting my notes in order. It's been a very long morning, a lot of stuff to talk about. Got 16, 17 different points I want to make. Might not get to all of them, but you know how it is. We'll try to get there. So I'm sorry I'm not looking up, just trying to get this right. You know how I am about my notes. My notes have got to be on point every single time. All right, so what's the first thing that we're hearing right now? The Congress was unable to pass a bill that would stop states from governing AI separately. So the fallback is that the president has signed an executive order to stop states from, issuing local regulations, about AI. The problem I have with that is that you want to stop states from issuing anything before the federal government has done anything. In this case, the states have stepped up and, they're looking at what AI is doing, from power consumption and raising prices in states for energy to water consumption, all of these different things, right? I mean, you have certain states where data centers are being made or being built where they were able to leverage eminent domain, and that's basically where the government gets to come in and snatch your property. Now, I have a problem with that because when 9 times out of 10, when eminent domain is used, it's not for anything public, it's for something private. And in this case, it's going to be data centers. So I have an issue with that. But when you look at energy prices, when you look at, water consumption, when you look at eminent domain, you want to stop states from governing that? And you don't have a plan at the federal level? You're just saying you can't? I don't know that I agree with that. I'm telling you, there are certain things about AI where I'm saying to myself, the world really isn't moving in that direction. They're just trying to tell you that it is. Oh, you need to have this. You need to get bigger. No, you don't need to get bigger. If we've got AI running on our desktops, our laptops, our phones, the hell I need these huge data centers for? That sounds like, I don't know, cost of doing business. Pay more for the energy. Pay for the water. And if you can't get it to cool your systems, find another way to cool your systems. Go to Antarctica if you need to. Go to space if you need to. There's a lot of talk about going to space. That's not a joke. But the burden of running your business should not be on the backs of the normal average citizen. That's not the way it should work. So a lot of people, such as me, have an issue with that. Do I get the speed that, an OpenAI has? No. Do I get the results? Yes. And this is local. Local solutions work. And I think that any kind of executive order for stopping states from issuing regulation around AI is a bad move. And they don't even know if that will stand up in court. So I think you're going to have states that are going to challenge that. I think that's for sure. So that's just me, but I think that's what's going to wind up happening, really and truly. Now, something else that happened, the CFTC withdrew a 2020 digital asset guideline forming a CEO innovation council and approved crypto exchanges like Bitnomial and Gemini while collaborating with the SEC. The big thing is that they're changing, the SEC is changing what a accredited investor is, and the CFTC is withdrawing that particular rule. One of them is really good, and the other one, I don't know. The decision confirmed by acting chair Caroline Pham, acting chair. We're 11 months in, and she's still only acting. I have an issue with that. Either she gets the job or finds somebody else, but 11 months of acting, just saying. Never liked that stuff. on December 11th follows the formation of a CEO Innovation Council. Why? They want to redo stringent rules. That's actually good in a way. I think that broad stroke rule changes are not necessarily good. I think pendulum level rule changes, meaning we were all the way over here and now we're all the way over here, I don't think that's good either. I think it's good that you have a council, but I think it's also good that the whole council shouldn't be made up of industry executives. I think you should also include people that have differing opinions. So we'll see. We'll see how that all turns out. The SEC changing what an accredited investor is, lowering that bar, I think that's actually a big deal, because having an accredited investor means that you actually understand investing and the risks and all that good stuff. But how can you understand the risks if you don't even know about it? Because that's what would happen. That's what was happening. You were an accredited investor if you hit a certain monetary value to whatever company wanted to deal with you. And so people didn't actually know what that meant. Working with a hedge fund, working with a VC, working with different people within the financial industry. So now that bar gets lowered, but the question becomes, how do you educate people about this stuff? And there's a separation. Like, young kids are learning about it. They're teaching themselves about it. They have access to the internet, and that's what they're doing. Right? They grew up attached to the internet. Researching something takes like seconds for them, whereas for others it might take a longer time. So how do we get people in the know is going to be the question. Also a good thing. But I think it takes a little bit of thought. I don't think we just do drastic rule changes without thinking it through. Because my thing is going to be education. Just saying. The House Financial Services Committee urges the SEC to update 401k rules to allow direct purchases of Bitcoin and other digital assets into 401ks. Interesting. Binance added fee-free trading pairs for USD1. That's 2 exchanges in a single day. Do you think that's a little bit of kissing up to the current regime? I think so. Like I said, USD1 would not be a $2+ billion coin or stable coin if it hadn't been for one transaction, a single transaction. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of kissing up. And by that, I mean a lot. So yeah, I have an issue with that. YouTube is going to allow United States creators to receive payments via PayPal's PYUSD. That's huge. So yours truly is probably going to go that route. I have to read up on it and see what's going on, but I'm probably going to go that route. I like the idea of getting paid in, stablecoin. Just saying. If all of our clients could pay us in digital assets, I would be elated. Just saying. Let's see. Major banks like Santander and Bank of America are adopting XRP-powered solutions for cross-border payments, with over 100 institutions exploring its potential, and a 21 shares XRP ETF did indeed launch. But back to that first point, which is the best point. Where XRP is now is where it was before the lawsuits. Welcome back. Yeah, the speed and security of XRP and its ability to transfer value cross-border was its selling point. And that's also the reason for XLM's creation, because XRP geared for institutions, XLM geared for retail. Both pretty much doing the same thing. So imagine, child goes off to work in another country to make more money, wants to send money home. Yeah, that kind of thing. I said years ago when that happened, well, you can say goodbye to MoneyGram and Western Union. Bye-bye. Who's going to pay those fees? Why? Why? Yeah, it makes no sense. So yeah, you're looking at something that I think is going to be huge because I think it can only grow. This is the success they were building toward years ago. And finally, after all that work, all those trials and tribulations, literally, they get to enjoy it now. Not mad about that at all. Fortitude and resilience. Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia and Capital A plan a ringgit-pegged stablecoin under Bank Negara's Digital Asset Innovation Hub. That's going to play out to be interesting. That's going to play out to be very interesting. Southern Asia is huge in terms of crypto. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Indonesia, Malaysia, right? Hong Kong, Singapore, gotta pay attention to these things. And then you have the Middle East. You see how these hubs are forming? They're not even forming, they're strengthening. Now you know why I say, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Absolutely invest deliberately. Why is that? Because when you practice the GMB3, it makes you stronger mentally. Your first investment is you. First investment is in you. That's why I ask the question every day. Every day. What else do we have going on? There's so much news. Oh my God. So much news. UK lawmakers warn that Bank of England's stablecoin rules could harm London's financial dominance by restricting wholesale market access and imposing GBP, the pound, 20,000 holding caps. That's, again, what governments are faced with right now is not just the advent of crypto, the explosion of crypto or digital assets. It's what does that mean for fiat? And I don't think anybody has the answer for that right now. I don't think anybody has the answer for that right now. But I'll give you a recent example, though, of what that impact could be. So, for example, last night I reported that Russia had moved or created 20. I think it's 28. Let me look at my notes. Russia issued $2.8 billion in its first renminbi denominated government bonds. So Russian government bonds denominated in China's renminbi. So that's a small example on how moving from one fiat to another. But imagine if that would have been, oh, we're going to issue these bonds and it'll be denominated in Bitcoin. Imagine. And imagine what kind of impact that would have on the world. Because that's not far from happening. It really is not far from happening. So governments are stuck with, we need to regulate this, and sometimes they get a little too heavy-handed, they get a little too relaxed. And it's a lot to contend with. And I don't think anybody's playing with numbers, not nobody, but I think too few are playing with numbers and projections that are going to look at what the impact is of digital assets as the world moves forward with continuing the adoption of digital assets. I mean, I told you the other day that the United States is not going to produce any more pennies. No more 1-cent pennies. What is that going to do? Well, isn't that going to force everybody to go digital? And if you're going digital, why should I continue to pay a fee for a card, whether it be a credit card or a debit card? Why should I pay a fee? Why should the vendor pay a fee? That's just a monopoly, isn't it? Isn't that racketeering? Right? Why can't I just use crypto? See where that's going? And I think more and more people are going to be educated on using their digital wallets, Apple Pay, Google Pay. I'm just saying, you start to look at those things and you start to realize, Oh, the leap is not that far from using a digital wallet with my credit card and debit cards to using a digital wallet with my crypto. And I think that time is coming where governments around the world are going to be forced to contemplate that. And my only issue with that is I don't know that there are enough smart people in the room. I know that's tough to hear. It really is tough to hear. What else do we have? Ripple completed an acquisition of Rail, integrating it into its ecosystem for institutional stablecoin solutions, combining RLUSD and XRP's high-speed network. That's huge. Small thing, but that's huge. Just saying. So we've got Stripe buying, I think it's Valaro, right? They build wallets. So that's Stripe, a payments platform, doing something banks should have done ages ago, which is buy up some of these companies so they could already not be trying to do wallets in 2026. They'd have had them in 2024. But nobody listens to me. And then you have something like this. And then you have MasterCard looking at buying Zero Hash. So you have companies that you don't expect to be making those kinds of moves, like like NASDAQ investing in Gemini and having Gemini incorporate their technology into their platform. There are big moves that are happening, and it seems like everybody else is waking up except for banks. Doesn't that make you cringe? Makes me stop and wonder. Cardano's price fell 10% as Midnight, its other coin, fell 80% on launch. Fell 80% on launch. I think one of the issues is most people don't know what it is. They don't understand it. Education is necessary there. I really think education is necessary there. Cardano's got to step up and get beyond the Cardano army and get to other people so that other people understand what it is. Just saying, that might help. More education in that space might help. Taiwan's FSC finalized a stablecoin regulation draft with a domestically issued stablecoin restricted to financial institutions in 2025 and potential 2026 launch. Yeesh. Everybody wants a stablecoin. Stablecoin seems to be the new CBDC. Pay attention, folks. That right there is a CBDC called a stablecoin. Clearly. And that seems to be the tactic that governments are using around the world. So pay attention. Just do your own research. Know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. It's all of that. All of that. Telling you, when I look at all the news, there's going to be, oh my God, there's going to be a lot to review this week. We're probably approaching like, I think we're probably approaching like 130 articles, 140 articles this week. That's going to be a lot to review for Sunday Roundup, like holy moly. And then doing a year end. This Sunday, I'm expecting us to be discussing things from the whole year and looking out on the next year, the kind of moves we expect, things like that. Because right now, if you really look at it, Bitcoin in 2025 was a bust when you look at the year-to-date number. Was there a way for you to make money and play the volatility? Absolutely. Absolutely. But too many people did not. So this weekend, we're going to be discussing that and then some on the private Big Bagger conference call. It's actually a video conference call. We all get together and talk about a whole bunch of stuff, and I think those are going to be the topics. So if you're not a big bagger yet, I strongly suggest you go over to growmybag.tv and become a big bagger. Just saying, it's going to be awesome. What else do we have? The CFTC exempted prediction market platforms like Polymarket and Gemini from swap data reporting if they meet compliance conditions, including full collateralization and transaction transparency. So that's interesting. When I first read that, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know that I like that. I don't know that I like the easing of rules just because you're a different kind of platform. You're still a platform where money exchanges hands. Just saying. Privacy coins saw 81% of global trading volume from, according to MEXC, from the Middle East. CIS? Oh my gosh. What the heck is CIS? CIS region. Because I don't know what it is. It's Commonwealth of Independent States, like Turkmenistan, and SEA, and it should be Southeast Asia. That's interesting, but it sounds right, with Monero dominating 93% of trading volume as institutional activity rises 210% in Q4. Wow. So the association is, well, a lot of people using, a lot of institutions are also using Monero. Yeah. Go look at Monero. As a matter of fact, you know what we should do? That's right. We should go look at the numbers. Let's go do that. Get my notes out of the way. We'll start down here with the numbers. Dow futures implied open 61 points up. S&P futures implied open 13.75 points down. NASDAQ futures implied open is 162.5 points down. Oil down 0.19. US 10-year up 0.027. Just saying. On the earnings calendar, who do we have today? Barnes & Noble, Johnson Outdoors, Rent the Runway retail, Children's Place retail. Anybody else I'm interested in? Yeah, nobody else. Big Lots retail. Nobody else I'm really interested in. And then you have U.S. numbers coming out next week because they were delayed. Don't know if they're going to make a difference, because a lot of people are saying they should have waited. The Fed should have waited till next week, delayed the meeting. And I'm kind of like, you had enough data to do what you did. I mean, they could have paused. They could have dropped 25%. They could have raised 25%. I think there are arguments for everything. But I think dropping 25 basis points, they're fine. They're fine without those numbers. And truthfully, I don't know that I'm going to trust those numbers for a little while. So we're going to wait till next week. That's when we're supposedly going to get CPI and all this other stuff. And we'll see. We'll see. I'm really antsy about it. I'm really, really antsy about it. Fear and Greed Index is up to 29. DeFi Llama says that we have $123.774 billion in total value locked. That's up about $3 billion from yesterday. Bitcoin is at 92. Do you see what's going on here? We're still seeing my band at 93,434 as resistance. It's right there. We established this band a long time ago. This trading pattern right here, we recognized that a long time ago. And here it is doing it again. Sometimes history repeats. This is why we keep them there. Looking at the big board, yeah, things are up. I still tell you there's money to be made. There's money to be made as I look at, even if you're into Solana, if you're into that kind of thing, I still see money to be made there. BTC, ETH, BCH, XRP, XLM, LTC, SUI, Avalanche. Let's see now. Link, Doge, Uniswap, Aave, ZEC, XMR, Hype, HBAR, Ton. Let's see, is there anybody else I care about on this page? Ondo is good for me. I don't give financial advice, only to my kids, only to my family. I just tell you what I like. ADA, I still like ADA. Let's not get it twisted. I still like ADA, but it dropped 10% based on midnight's 80% plummet. Just saying. Looking at the big board, still Bitcoin and Ethereum both underwater. S&P 500 could very well outpace Bitcoin for the first time in 11 years. Very well could. We'll see what happens. But as always, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. It is something that is very much real. Let's see. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. That's all right. Give me a moment. That's all this morning's articles. Yeah. But what I really want to do is look at, yeah, this is what I want to see. I really want to take a look at this. All right. So who's down? I hear a lot of talk about Monad. I haven't touched it, haven't done any research on it. But I keep seeing it pop up, but I'm not necessarily seeing it pop up in good ways. And already you're already not looking at my 5% rule. So there's nothing over here. So this is the within the top 250. These are the low ones, right? And obviously they're moving sideways. When you look at, or moving laterally, when you look at the high ones, midnight is now up 14.4%. But depends on when you caught it, because it's got a GMB X factor of 1.36 and it just came out. Yeah, it dropped 80%. So in that initial drop of 80%, you can see now this is what happens. Okay. See you. You've got Fartcoin up 12.52%, GMB X factor of 5.36. Mantle is up 9.66, GMB X factor of 1.27. Yeah, I'm not mad about that. Yes, I do have a bag of Mantle. Who else is on here? Hyperliquid up 8.29%, GMB X factor of 1. Yes, I like Hyperliquid. Aave up 7.77 with a 222 GMB X factor. Wow, that's a pretty cool number. Yes, I like Aave, and yes, I like its future. Sui is up 6.21% with a GMB X factor of 2.26. Yes, I like its number. I like its future. Then we drop all the way down to here. Solana's up 5.69% with GMB X factor of 1.12, proving that you can make money with Solana. What else do we have? That's it. Athena up 5.20%, GMB X factor of 4.72. I have not done any research on Athena. Don't know what it does. Don't know what it's all about. And I do not hold a bag. If I can't tell you about a coin, you know I don't own a bag. That's the way it works. But that's where you are. The top 25 and the bottom 25 of the top 250 coins is right here on the GMB crypto tracker. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I really hope that you like what I'm doing. And if you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community, and absolutely become a member if you can, because this weekend's once a month big baggers meeting is going to be off the chain. I haven't invested in myself just yet. I just woke up. With that being said, the face of Cardano is a weirdo. Oh man, that's foul. He needs to step. Yeah, if you catch some of my older videos, I was saying that about Charles Hoskinson a lot. And it's true. He needs to fall back a bit. Smart guy, but he does need to fall back a bit. But it is what it is. He does not have the it factor. He does not have the it factor, and I think Cardano is very much unsung because of it. I think they need a stronger marketing arm that can really get the noise out and noise up about. Look at that, a coyote. It's funny. They need to get the noise out about Cardano. They really, really do. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. I'll see you tonight on Friday Flips, where basically you get to ask me anything about whatever topic regarding investing. Everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.